Hey, what's going on? It's Adam here, and welcome to the Smart Business Show. I'm with the Tim Chisones for another episode of the Optimal Selling Strategy. In fact, today we're going to be going over the simplest and clearest path to cash, so we're going to have a lot of fun. You ready to dive in?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So what I've noticed is a lot of entrepreneurs are very ambitious. They want to accomplish a lot of goals, and they channel this ambition into many different areas. They're networking, they're posting content online, they're sending out emails, and they're driving people to all of these different call to actions. And a lot of times it's very difficult to get to to scale the business because you're divided into too many areas. Maybe you've experienced this before. And so what we've been able to do is create a process called the optimal selling strategy, which gets our clients to focus on one specific area so that they could be able to scale their business. So there's 5 different buckets that we're going to go into in just a minute to direct your focus if you're a service-based entrepreneur, coach, or speaker. So before we dive in, what do you see a lot of entrepreneurs do that are keeping them from developing that optimal sales process?
It's more of a trap that they fall into without realizing it until they're already in it. You get excited, you want to sell your product, your programs, your services, and you see someone do a webinar. You're like, I got to do a webinar. So then you build out this webinar, and now you're promoting it on Facebook. Well, that's not working. Oh, what are they doing over here? And then you see them promoting on Oh, now I got to promote on Instagram. And you start going down all these different rabbit holes until you finally find yourself to where no sales have been made, and yet you're doing all this stuff. You're emailing, you're posting, you're networking, you're doing all this, but no sales are being made because you didn't focus on that. You focused on all the other stuff, and then you're left with sitting there like, what did I just do?
Right, exactly. And this happens all the time, especially if you follow an influencer who's doing sort of a marketing strategy like Tim mentioned. You end up wanting to do that strategy too. So next thing you know, your time is divided and nothing becomes optimized and streamlined. So I want to be able to give you a clear path that's so simple that it's almost impossible to fail. So I want you to think about this. There are 5 key buckets that you can drive your traffic into. The first bucket is the workshops that you can run. So if you're in a business where you love speaking and you want to run workshops, you can fill live workshops and pack that out, and that can be your business. In fact, workshops typically convert at about 20%. So that means that if you work all month to be able to get 100 people at your workshop, then you would get about 20 clients. So if the value of your client is, let's say, $5,000, then you'd make $100K for the month. If the value of your client is worth $1,000, then you'd make $20K for the month. So that could be one bucket or strategy. And if that's your strategy, that could be the one thing that you focus on to fill for the month. The second strategy is doing live web classes. Live web classes, on average, close at about 10%. So what that means is that if you spent all month and all you did was get 100 people on a live web class, then you'd have 10 new clients. If you made $2,000 per client, you'd make $20,000 for the month. So what I want you to catch on here is that you're just directing all your focus to fill one of these buckets. So you might be wondering, what's the next bucket? Why don't you tell them about the Ascension funnel bucket?
Yeah, so the Ascension funnel bucket is for those of you who you might have a lower tier product or program, sub $100, and you're using that as more of a front end of your business, and you just want to get more customers in the door onto your list. You want to get more customers. And after they purchase that, we've all seen it. You got the bump offer, and then you got a one-time offer, the OTO, maybe $197.
Right.
Depending on your business model, and that's going to work your customers up. You can be able to segment them into different pools and everything like that. Different from doing a webinar or a workshop, but it's for a different type of business as well.
Exactly, absolutely. So that's another bucket is the Ascension funnel. There's a lot of the automated funnels that you probably see on your timeline or your newsfeed where somebody's giving you their free workbooks or templates, and they work your way up an Ascension ladder to get you to buy more offers in the back end. So that's another bucket to focus on. The fourth bucket is the live event bucket, where it's a 2 or 3 day event and you work all year to fill the event. Typically, you close about 30% of your live event. So let's say, for example, you put 100 people in an event, you promoted it all year round, then you would get 30 clients. So that's not a lot, but if the value of your service is $20,000, then you made $180,000 in one weekend through your live event. So that could be a great model if you have more of a high tier service. And then your fifth bucket would be the demo presentations. And these are if you sell one-on-one. Now you can't scale one-on-one presentations if you're the only one selling. So you have to train other people to do your demos with you or for you, so that way you can have more leverage. But one person can typically do about 20 to 40 demos a week about your product or service or your software that you're running. And so you can have multiple people taking on demos to sell your stuff. So the goal is to be able to identify one of these 5 areas that you could focus all of your time and attention into so that you can optimize that funnel. So the question is, which one is right for you? Tim, how do they decide which bucket is right for them?
It depends on your offer and what you're selling, right? If you're selling a $25, $30, $40, $50,000 service, then you might want to look at a live event, right? Because you want to also think about the selling environment. You can't sell a $50,000 program with an automated funnel, right? There has to be human interaction.
Exactly.
there.
And I think the selling environment is key because depending on what you're selling, it is determined by the selling environment. Like you look at the timeshare model, right?
Yeah,
Like that's the
exactly.
demo model. They're selling you like this, $30,000 vacation package, and they have you in this room where they're ready to pop wine and champagne if you buy. It's like the selling environment is what creates that. They couldn't sell you that if you weren't there in that room.
Exactly.
Right?
And with like a webinar, for example, a webinar is perfect for anything between like the $500 mark and the $2,500 mark.
Right.
Right. And it's going to be different for everyone's business, but again, it's a different selling environment versus a live event.
Correct.
Right. They're still with you live, but it's a digital environment.
Correct. Exactly.
Right?
Yep. And I think that workshop model was great from like the 1,000 mark to the $10,000 mark. You can sell stuff within your workshops really well. And then you have the live events that could be as low as $2,000 all the way to $100,000 packages. A great environment to sell higher level stuff. And then demos are the same way as well. If you're one-on-one with somebody, you can really customize a package to be able to fit them as well. So it's really looking at your gifting as well. What are you really good at? Do you like to speak? If not, then eliminate the live event model, eliminate the workshops, and maybe you present on a live web class, right? That could be your method of communicating to your audience to sell that way. Or you can run an automated traffic into a funnel where it's relying more on copywriting than it is on your actual presentation skills, right? So it's about being aware of what's going to be the best bucket for you. And then once you get clear on that, then it just becomes all about traffic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of these traffic sources.
So the traffic sources, again, you want to look at, first of all, once you have your bucket and you have your offer honed in and you're like, this is what I'm going to stick to. This is where I'm going, right? That's what I'm focused on. The next thing you want to do, there's a billion traffic sources out
That's
there,
true.
right?
Yep.
Everything from
Everyone thinks it's just Facebook ads and
Yeah.
like Instagram ads.
Right. And you can go, really hardcore and talk about doing direct mail even. It still works. But where most people are focused is online. So you can do Facebook ads, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, Yahoo, Bing, you name it, right?
Yelp.
The ad networks, Yelp. It's all there, right? So how do you choose that? Well, the best thing to look at is where is your market?
Right.
They might be on Facebook, but they might not be on Facebook to do business. Right?
That's right.
So are your customers or your prospects, are they Googling stuff to find out more about your type of service or products? And if they are, then maybe Google or even YouTube would be a great traffic source for you to try out.
Exactly, absolutely. And that's, there's two ways to gain traffic. You either pay for it or you earn it. And so you can do the earn model as well, where if you don't have revenue to pump into traffic yet, you can develop partnerships and think about, okay, who are the gatekeepers that have access to my audience? And you can actually interview those gatekeepers on podcasts. You can interview them on Instagram Lives, Facebook Lives, and after the interview say, hey, I would love to possibly do a partnership with you where we can maybe promote a web class together. I'll bring a free training to your community, and if anybody buys or enrolls in any of my stuff, I'll share revenue with you. And that question alone, if you keep asking that, you're going to get some influencers to say, sure, what's your training about? Or what is your topic about? And they will promote your stuff. If not for free, they may require a small fee to be able to promote to their list what we call solo ad, which is where you pay them to send an email to their list about your product. But that's a great way to develop your business and traffic at the speed of trust.
Yes.
Why do I say the speed of trust is because these influencers that you're reaching out to, they've developed their network and list over years. They've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to develop that trust, that community. And now they're just mentioning your web class or your live event, and they're getting their audience into your room or to your web class or to your funnel, and it's instant. They hand over the credibility and hand over the trust. So I'm a big fan of partnerships.
Yeah. You're basically gonna ride their coattails of authority.
Right.
Right. So, for example, if you were to do an ad on Facebook, let's just say for an example, and no one knows who you are, and your copywriting skills is, it's okay, right? You're gonna have to work a lot harder to make sure that ad converts, because you have to build trust and authority and proof and all that. But if someone else who already has an influence and authority in your marketplace, and they already have an audience, and all they're saying is like, hey, my buddy Adam over, hey guys, like, you guys are following me, we're doing this is awesome. I got a buddy named Adam, and he showed me something amazing, and I want him to share it with you too. They're gonna be like, okay,
yeah,
right. You're riding the coattails. You automatically have that trust.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So here's what I recommend. To make this very simple, pick 1 or 2 sources of traffic that you want to master. Pick one of your selling environments to optimize your sales process. That could be a live webinar, a workshop, a ascension funnel, live event, or a demo presentation. And all you're gonna do is drive all your traffic into one of those methods of selling. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna optimize your sales process. It's gonna give you clarity. Every day you wake up, you know exactly what you need to drive your traffic to. It's gonna open up your eyes to other traffic sources to fill that bucket. And you're gonna be able to help and reach so many more people because you're dialed in. And that's the level of focus and intention you wanna be able to have to really build a smart business. Because if you're spread too thin, if you're out networking, posting on your social media, sending out emails, and you're telling everybody to contact you or connect with you, and you're getting phone calls from all these different places, you can only handle so much. And so you might be able to get to a 6-figure business, but after that, you're gonna get stuck. If you wanna break past that to that $20,000 or $30,000 a month mark and beyond, then you really have to begin systematizing your leads and sales flow. And that's why we call it your OSP, your optimal selling process. You must get that down if you want to be able to build and scale your business in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, right? We're talking about the trap that you fall into when you're scattered, you got all this stuff going on, and I have this thing, I have this program, I got this, and okay, yeah, I have this, and you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're all over the place. But if you do what Adam told you to do, and you just focus on your one core offer, right, and your one selling environment, and your 1 or 2 traffic sources, and that's all you focused on until you started getting consistent sales and leads, Adam was right. You're going to get ultimate clarity on how to talk to your market. You're going to get ultimate clarity on what you need to do next.
Yep, exactly.
Which is the next piece of it.
And it took our business from about $40,000 to $50,000 a month to over $120,000 a month. We're talking about 300% increase, right? Just from one strategy. Now we have multiple selling methods, right? We have our live events, we have our web classes, because we've gotten each stream to be independent. That's what's going to happen with you. We're not saying to not do all of them. We're saying master one, get one optimized, get one efficient, and then move into the next bucket. And then eventually you can have multiple streams of multiple selling processes, right? And so if one goes down, you have the others to back you up. But in the beginning, when it's just you and your time is most valuable, you got to be able to make it simple.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, I just want to tell you guys this, it's okay to be where you are in your business. Just because, maybe Adam has all 5 of the buckets rolling, right? You are where you're at because you need to be there, and you need to learn that one process in your business, and that's okay. Yeah. You don't need to do everything. Master that one thing, then level up. Yep, right? Master that, then level up. And it's going to be a process, but be okay with where you are. Absolutely.
And you may be listening to this or watching this thinking, I need to be able to optimize my selling process. If that's you, we want to be able to offer you a free demo. If you go to dreamfactoryco.com, go ahead and schedule a free demo, and we'll actually map out your optimal selling process with you so that you can be able to get clarity. If you're unsure what your offer should be, how you should structure things, you might not be sure, we'll go ahead and schedule that demo presentation to help you get clarity on that. And so that's dreamfactoryco.com. Hit schedule your free demo, and one of the members of our team will get to you within 24 to 48 hours to help you map that out. So I want to thank you for being on this episode of the optimizing your selling process. Pick your bucket, pick your traffic source, streamline your business, make it simple, and we will see you in the next episode.